Hi, I'm Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director of Event Programming at MediaPost, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to interview some of the most influential women marketers today. And with me, I have Kerri McLeroy. She is the Vice President of Marketing at Madeleine French Bakery and Cafe. Hey, Kerri.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to have you, and I while researching you and checking out your bakery, it was, oh my gosh, everything looks delicious there. So it was definitely a treat.
It's good stuff. We've
Yeah.
got we've got great stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and then should I be saying bonjour?
Oh, yes, that is that is how we should have been. Bonjour, Lisa.
Bonjour, Carrie. Fantastique.
Yeah, exactly. Très bien.
So those are the two words I got from your list from snooping on your LinkedIn post. So that's all I got.
Well, we're making it authentic, so thank you
When
for
I
bringing
actually,
that
when I
with
went
me.
to Paris, I had my Google translator. So anytime before I would ask a question, I would listen quickly. And then, so that it was appreciated. Like, so everyone was so nice because I think that I made the effort at least, even though
Yes.
I was, butchered it completely. But
So randomly, not randomly, it was for work, but I was in Paris and France last week visiting with our parent company. And so I did my best to try to practice and speak the language. And
mhm.
I would say bonjour and try to begin a sentence. And then the local who I would speak to would just immediately go to English. So they were like, don't even try. You're
It's
butchering.
okay. What I loved though was funny, and I was saying it to everyone. Whenever like I would leave my hotel, and the people who were so nice, it was a little boutique hotel, and they would always be like, "Bonjour," like they always went "Bonjour." Like I was just it's like, why are they going up, down? Like I just noticed that. Is that like being? It was very friendly sounding, so I liked it. But I just thought, is that how it always is, or is it just them?
I think, well, probably it's the most authentic way here. We're just like, bonjour.
That's what I knew. So, but anyway, I loved Paris, but we
Yeah.
digress. We could talk on that for a long time. But I want to, as I say, I always snoop before I have these interviews. And one of the things I saw that you had posted that you were really excited about was that the baguette is entering the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage. I guess before we even go, what is that? So people know.
So the UNESCO is it's the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, and really they celebrate, protect, and preserve key cultural and natural heritage elements around the world. And relevant to our brand, they inducted the baguette. So our parent company is Groupe Le Duff, and they're based in Rennes, France, which is the east part of the country. And once they found out this detail, the communications team for the company wanted to immediately celebrate it. So our brand concepts around the world celebrated the baguette with our local cafes.
Yeah.
So that is kind of how it happened, and we were very happy to participate in the celebration.
Well, yeah, of course, it's a big part of what you offer to provide that French, influence in your cafes. And well, of course, then I wanted to see, all right, what the baguette is actually, like, get a little history on it. And I found that the production process is very extensive. There's like kneading, dividing, relaxing, which I'm not sure what that is, shaping, all of the above. But it's only made from 4 ingredients. But what I thought was cool is each baker will have a unique result, even though it's kind of just those 4 ingredients. So going with that, which others may say this is a huge leap, but my mind works this way. I think people are like that. Like, I mean, like there are basic ingredients. I mean, obviously there's more than 4, but I think that there are these basic ingredients that we're all brought up, raised with, whatever, and we become these unique individuals. And so it just made me wonder, like for you, what do you think those 4 ingredients really framed you to who you are, your unique person that you are today?
Well, that's a very clever and creative question. I would think, I think my recipe, my ingredients would be comprised of gratitude, generosity, accountability, and a strong family and friends network. I say gratitude because I'm extremely thankful for all of my experiences, all of my past experiences, my current experiences, whether they've been positive or negative, and whether they've been personal or professional. It's I put in a lot of hard work to be where I am, but I'm just thankful for the doors that have opened, the jobs that I've had, the friends, family who are there to support me. I say generosity because I try to be an unselfish person, and I want to celebrate my team for big work accomplishments or milestones that they execute. And I love thoughtful giving too. And it doesn't have to be like a costly gift to be generous. Just an example is like I make my own greeting cards. Like I'm a nerd crafter. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm old school, and I write old school letters to friends and family. Just I try to do one a week. But that's what makes me happy. But I hope that like, that generosity by sharing a handcrafted element makes somebody's day a little bit brighter.
Oh, that's
Um,
that personalization.
yes, totally. And a surprise and delight too, because to me, I love getting handwritten letters, and it doesn't happen very often. And so whenever I get something in the mail that's not a bill,
That's what I was gonna
then
say. That's all I'm used to getting. Most of us,
yeah,
that's all we get, or
yeah.
junk mail.
So
Not
it'll make
not junk for you
it'll
advertisers. Very not to say junk, but
not to say that,
it's
yes, that's
not
not
that matter.
important. Let's say I'd say another ingredient or piece of my recipe could be accountability. I do take pride that I'm an extremely accountable person. If somebody needs me, I'm here for them. If I'm going to if I tell somebody that I'm going to accomplish something at work or a personal goal, etc., it gets done, no questions asked. Years and years ago, I was like, I wonder if I should try being a yoga teacher. I love practicing. Even if I went through the training part of it and didn't end up teaching yoga, it couldn't hurt anything. So I held myself accountable and went through that process. And if I have friends or family that need to talk, need to get through a difficult situation, or just take a walk, I'm here. If I say I'm here, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And then I guess lastly, my friends and family network. I'm so appreciative of having a strong supporting family and friends network. And I have a core group that's been with me through a lot, and we depend on each other. So I definitely think that that's part of my makeup.
Wow. No, and that's wonderful, wonderful ingredients to create
Yes.
but and I do think it's like going back to the baguette, like you could take those ingredients and with people, and it's still everyone still has the uniqueness and what that means to them and how that defines them, even if it's those same qualities that they
Uh-huh.
describe themselves. I feel like, it becomes, more, personified by that person. I feel like, so I do think that that's what it just my head, I don't know, it goes those places sometimes. So when I was
Yeah.
reading it, I'm like, oh, I like this for that. So maybe I'll use this even without, I'll just bring up the baguette with whoever and tell them
Well,
about
very clever and creative question.
that. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Otherwise you'd have been like, yeah, see you later.
No, not at all.
Enough. But no, so in talking about when you, as you said, you tried different, you have different journeys and gone through different things and have different doors open. So let's talk about that in terms of your career, and like actually just even going before that, like you didn't necessarily start off in the food and restaurant. You were with like Fossil watches.
Yeah.
You also were a golfsmith. So it seemed like there was like event qualities to some of the earlier on things, but then you segue to QSR restaurant with like
Mhm.
Chili's and Yumi brands, and now of course with Madeline. But or La Madeleine, don't want to leave out the La, but when you were first starting out and graduating, I mean, was marketing in your radar, and was events in your radar? Like, what led you to where you, I guess, began, and then how did it evolve to what you are today?
It's been quite a journey, and I guess it's been kind of random and fortunate, but I went to college and was general studies for as long as I could be general studies. And then you get to a point where they're like, you have to pick a major. And, the science and the math part didn't come as naturally as the liberal arts piece of it did. So eventually I ended up graduating with a journalism degree from Texas A&M. And really, I thought that after graduation, I was going to work for a magazine or work for a newspaper or doing something in the typical journalism space. And so after I graduated, I moved to Dallas with no job. I had a friend from college that was like, I need a roommate. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. And then I kind of fell into the retail space. First job I ever had in Dallas was with public relations. And that was a brief bout before I found this fantastic job with Fossil, which really kicked off my career in marketing and retail. And then from that, getting my foot in the door with retail that way, I was fortunate to then move on to other roles in the retail space and in other retail companies like Nike and Golfsmith. But I have found that retail and food are very similar in that you have a consumer facing product, you have key seasons throughout the year, and you need to market and advertise this product to guests and consumers. And it's now I'm sharing the greatness of croissants versus watches. And the food, what's great about the food industry is that it's so fast paced, it's ever evolving, which has just kept me involved in it for years. And everyone eats, so food is always going to be relevant, and it's a fun space. It's a really fun space.
Yeah, no, and I do see that. I actually, because we do retail summits, and we also do QSR events, QSR restaurants, and I do see the similarities when I'm talking with different people. We're sort of, okay, if you're from a restaurant, then you're in this one, and if you're from a retailer, then you're here. But there's so many things that cross over. And I feel like that is something, and I think the way you even started off when you first were sort of thinking about your career is, as you said, you kind of went into PR, which is very much a crossover. I guess my point is there are so many crossovers. It doesn't have to be like, people think, okay, I'm going to be this. And then maybe it doesn't work out, or maybe things change, or maybe then they come across something else like at a PR, then you work retail. But I feel like anyone just starting out or even looking for a career change shouldn't pigeonhole themselves to one thing. It should be more about the skill sets rather than the actual position, I think.
Yes. And so I think back to my college career, and in my program, we weren't forced to pick like a segment of journalism. So I got to sample a little bit of advertising, a little bit of writing, a little bit of marketing, which, didn't pigeonhole me into one specific role or journey. And then I could take that collective learning and then just start a career and, use all of those elements that I gained in college.
What was it that mostly, because you talked about how in terms of the restaurant side of things, how exciting, and there's always that audience and all of that. But what was it that kept you with that marketing side? Like when was that aha moment that this is the right fit for me?
I think it was the creative piece that came through. It was being able to tell a story, the storytelling, the beautiful photography that goes around with it, the ability to actually get to, in the food industry, taste the product. In retail, it was more to wear the product, but it was really being able to just showcase a brand or a product that you're passionate about. And it's it's fun because you get to share that with the consumers or your guests. You know, in an accounting role or a purchasing role, you may be, you know, crunching numbers majority of the time, but my job and my team's job is to be able to bring this to life and to celebrate with guests, which was a rewarding department and market to be in.
No, definitely. And that's, I think, a big part of the type of person who goes into marketing or journalism. It's that consumer facing, you know, being a part of the consumers, whether or not maybe you're not out there at every event or something like that, but it's just being very much aware of who they are and how to connect with them.
Yes, and bringing in our case at La Madeleine, it's bringing the joie to our guests and consumers. So bringing a little joy to their eating experience.
Oh, I love that. The joie, is that how
The joie.
The joie. Okay, I love that. I have to now incorporate that into my everyday conversation. So getting outside of the joie, has it been a challenge that you've maybe faced, not necessarily work-wise, but in your career or in life in general, that maybe sort of hit an impasse? We're like, okay, where do I go from here? Talk about that a little bit and where you went.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, I guess it was like 11, 12, 13 years ago. I was just hitting a rut in life, and I was craving something new, like some type of big change. I was currently living and working in one city, and I had a great job and I had a great social network, but I felt like I needed a new adventure. And I was grateful at the time. I had two opportunities that were presented to me in two different cities with two different jobs, two different corporations. And one path would have taken me to the Pacific Northwest. The other path would have taken me back to Dallas. At the time, I wasn't living in Dallas. And the first hard thing about this position was leaving my friends and family, or my friends in the job in the current city where I was living, but I didn't want to just be comfortable. I was wanting to try something new and doing something new. And then the second hardest piece of it was figuring out what journey I wanted to take. The two cities that I was considering were very, very different. And in one opportunity, I had to leave family, completely start over. And another opportunity, it was just a bigger risk as far as like getting into an industry that I hadn't been in before, i.e. the restaurant industry. And so ultimately I chose to move back to Dallas, which was awesome because, you know, I got my foot into the door. At the time, it was with Brinker and the Chili's restaurant family, but there were many, many pros and cons and restless nights trying to think about what journey and what path would be right for me. And I was also at an age where it's just like, okay, this is, you know, this is where I could be settling down for a minute of time. So that was a really challenging thing that I had to overcome, and to accept the journey that I did choose was the right journey, and to not look back and question it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Chili's, that was your introduction to food and restaurants, which you love and you now to do. So, I mean, you didn't know that. I mean, obviously that was not hindsight there, or hindsight now, I guess, is you have that hindsight. But at the time, it was just more what I think sometimes it comes down to just trusting your gut and what feels right.
And that's what it came down to. Like I built spreadsheet over spreadsheet over spreadsheet, but then ultimately it's like, okay, like how do I feel on the inside about these decisions? Where does my gut want me to go? And I've been happy with my decision. So it's been a great one.
No, that's awesome. I do think, and it can be scary, but it's at the same point, you would have stayed in your rut, and maybe to say where maybe you'd still be there now, you know, and that might be okay. I'm not saying it isn't, but I feel like when people have that, and I don't think everyone has that. Like some people are very content, they stay there, and that's wonderful. Sometimes I sort of really envy that because they have this connection of people that they've lived all their life, and it's, you know, family all around and all of that, was I've moved all the so many times. But I wouldn't have been able to be content doing that. So I think you have to know yourself.
Yes, yes. And like it was a new adventure too.
Mhm.
So it's just like, this is great now. And like I was content and I was getting too comfortable, but I was just like, this city is always going to be here. My friends are always going to be here. So if my new adventure doesn't work out, then I could have a different adventure back to where I was.
Right.
So,
And maybe then it would be you get that spark again, you know, like maybe you just need to leave and then to know what's right,
yes.
or what you do moving forward is right. So I think, as you said, like it was really a win-win,
Uh-huh.
some, you know, scary, but you know, situation. Um,
Yeah.
so and we talked a little bit about La Madeleine's food, and it's, you guys describe it as sort of that approachable French food, the comfort food. So I want to ask you, what is your go-to comfort food? Not La Madeleine.
Not not La Madeleine, which
Yeah, when you're not eating there, what's your comfort food?
um this is so it's so simple and really I guess I'd have to say popcorn. Like,
Really?
yeah, popcorn and not the microwave popcorn, but like stove popped or air popped popcorn, and you can spice it up with different seasonings and whatever. But yeah, it's just that is I my favorite thing, sit on the couch, big bowl of popcorn, or go to the movies, bag of popcorn. And I think probably the kitchen tool that's used most at my house is there's a thing called the Whirly Pop that does stove popped
Oh yeah.
popcorn. And yeah, I'd say that's probably that's probably my go-to comfort.
Okay. Butter and salt, or
Just salt or garlic salt, or let's see, I've done paprika, or just it, you can mix it up with all different types of seasoning. I try not to put butter on it unless I'm at the movie theater, and then that's a must.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so simple and inexpensive, but yeah, popcorn.
No, I like popcorn. I'm a big popcorn, but actually for me, if I go to the movie theater, it always it's fill it halfway. Good. So when they
Oh,
used to do it for you, then it was like just fill halfway, do butter, and then fill the rest. But now it's like, okay, fill it halfway. Then I have to go to put the butter on, and then
yes.
go back. Okay, top it off, and then go with the butter. Like, it is a process. And then salt. Yeah, it's like my arteries are saying, stop doing this. Like, so I can't do it a lot, but that is how I love my movie popcorn.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, and you walk out and your fingers are a little puffy because of all of the sodium, but it's such a treat.
Only way, otherwise I don't want it. But no,
Yeah.
but no, I like Smart Food cheese, this cheese popcorn. I don't know if you ever had that. I mean,
No.
it's not like what you do. It's not cooking, but it's yeah, it's the, you got to get the cheese, not the low cal. Like, if you're gonna do this stuff, I'm sorry, eat well, do all that, but when you want this good stuff, when you want like that cookie or that whatever,
Uh-huh.
the fat-free, sugar-free, any of that. And same with the popcorn, not the 50 calorie, you know, lower calorie. It's just like,
Yes. Yeah. All in moderation.
yes, I agree. So I'm curious, is there something that people, you know, what they get wrong about you when they meet you, maybe, or they only know you a little bit, that they assume something about you?
Uh, yeah, they probably think that I'm maybe more extroverted than I am. I'm total introvert. Like, with my job in the hospitality business, you have to be around people and customers all day. I feel like I'm always talking or presenting at work or with our field team, and I'm really comfortable being on and being around people. And in my personal life, I go to a lot of concerts and music festivals, social events, whatever. But it's all fun and awesome, but I have to recharge by sitting on my couch doing nothing, or maybe doing nothing with a bowl of popcorn. But like, my favorite thing to do on a Friday evening is just to sit
Mhm.
and just decompress solo. And I feel like I have to have that me time to recharge. And if, like I said, if you look at the job, the industry I'm in, what I do in my free time, it's just like, oh, that wouldn't be typical introvert behavior. But yeah, I totally need the
Yeah.
alone time.
Yeah, I think that I've actually talked with others about that, and I'm similar in that sense as well. But I mean, I think there are some who, yes, just always want people around them and whatever. But I just think that you can still be extroverted, and then when it comes down to it, then you kind of have to have your, no talking or no doing anything, just mindless, whatever it is, wherever. That's what I'm curious in terms of what's your, and maybe it is that on the couch, with your
Okay.
bowl of popcorn, your space, but like because I know like with La Madeleine, you kind of describe it as that French atmosphere and the space for your guests to call home. What's your space? And is it the couch, or is there another place that you talked about yoga, like something where you need to go and recharge?
So if I'm recharged, as far as getting my introvert time in, if I really need to clear my head and I need to just like decompress, it is physical activity like yoga. It's whether it's like Orange Theory, Pilates, yoga, cycle, or just going on a really, really long walk. That single-handedly can help me de-stress. So just yesterday, last night, after I left work, it was a very, very full day. And then on top of a full day, I was sitting in traffic and getting anxious about all the things that needed to be done that I had to get done. But I made myself go work out. And then it was almost immediately that I could just feel my blood pressure go down, my head just to start clear. And I walked out of my workout feeling just, I guess it was good. It did wonders for my mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And especially because sometimes I'll need something and I want to work out or whatever, but I'm not motivated, whatever it may be. And I'm on the water. So I like just go walk the water, but I dress the way I could be working out too. So I might start off, oh, I'll just do a walk, and then it can evolve into whatever it may be. But I do think I love being on the water, but also just getting yourself out can really
Yes.
help you to just get your mind free of whatever else is happening.
And I agree with you. There is something so peaceful and serene about being with the water, or being near the water. So even if you're just going to sit by a body of water, there is something very calming about that. So good, lucky for you for being able to.
I know I'll be leaving it soon. I'm going back
Oh
east
no.
to go closer to my family. I want to be closer to my parents, but yes, no, that is hard to, aside from my friends in here, but I'm very like I've been bi-coastal, so I'll be back. They'll see me more probably than they see me now, so I'll definitely, but the water, no, like I see the water every day, now, and that will be hard to give up. Definitely.
I'm envious. That is something that we're lacking in Dallas. We have a beautiful lake, but I don't live near the lake, and it's a trek to get out there. So if you can see it every day, that's pretty special.
Look out in the water, and I hear, like at night, instead of hearing dogs barking, I hear the seals, or sea lions. I think they're sea lions, but they're barking. And it's just like, and it's not like dog barking or baby crying would be annoying. For some reason, these are not. It's just like, oh, it's kind of just the atmosphere.
I think I would enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I do. So at least for the next foreseeable future.
Yes.
But so I'm curious if you were, we talked a little bit about when you were starting out, and I think, everyone is, but women especially can be hard on themselves, younger, maybe, getting nervous about like having to be perfect or having to do this. Is there advice that you would give your younger self, that, sort of admonish your younger self to say, get over yourself, or get over that, or don't, like do this, because ultimately it doesn't matter?
Yeah, like just to not worry too much about what other people think about you. Ultimately, it's just like for me, it's like I want to make my parents proud. I want my friends to I want to maintain those friendships and be there for them. But I'm just like it don't get caught up in what people say or think. And many years ago, I'm like, gossip does not need to be part of my life. It's just like, I can't tolerate it. I don't want to be a piece of it. And so I would recommend to my younger self, like, don't get involved in gossip and talking negatively about people. And then also something else, practice patience. Like, things eventually work out. And if it doesn't happen immediately and it gets stressful, it's okay. And eventually your roadmap is going to fall into place. And there's not a life manual that says on this date this has to be done and you're falling behind if you don't follow this schedule. So just to be patient and don't get caught up in what other people think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think we think every decision we make has to be the final decision.
Yeah.
Like I think it's that finality to it, that it has to be perfect, because that's where you're going to have to be. And we've, obviously living life, you realize that it's not about that. It's about going to the next step. It's constantly changing. So I'm curious in the sense of, when you talk about, obviously in, restaurant industry, you have to be with the consumers, you have to be engaging with the consumers, you have to be on top of what they're looking for. So you really need to motivate your team. What do you do? Like, everyone must go through phases where, okay, you hit a slump, you hit this. How do you sort of motivate them and get them, back reinvigorated to work, and to not to that they weren't working, but to, be excited again?
Yeah. So, well, by the way, I have to say I have the best team. Like, the La Madeleine marketing team is fantastic. Like, I love them. I think so highly of them, and I want them to feel empowered. And whether it's an entry level position or a tenured position, they're part of the team for a reason. And I give them the opportunity to get involved in any project. If they want to learn more about a piece of the business that may not be directly tied to marketing, or they may not be a regular contributor to one segment of the business, like, if they have any interest, let me know. I've also offered up, like, if there are educational opportunities like conferences or workshops, or just online sessions that would help build upon their passions, to let me know and to sign up for those type of things. And we have a great team, and we have regular team meetings where we don't always talk about the deadlines, what's happening next, the hot projects, but we also talk about, like, our fun things, like, what are you doing for the Memorial Day weekend? What did you do for your birthday? And one of my team members recently got to go to the Women's Food Service Forum that was held here in Dallas. And she just came back with a new motivation, and it was such an incredible experience. So it's just things like that I use to motivate and inspire my team. And like I said, we get to work in a really fun industry. And so it's also kind of motivating, just going out and competitive shopping, looking at all the different macarons, the different bakery items, food items. So that's motivating as well.
It sounds also, you're just about offering opportunity,
Yes.
whatever
Yeah.
it may be, whether it's career opportunity, food whatever it may be, like, to do things, but it's just like keeping up, like, not just putting them in one spot where this is what you're doing day in, day out.
Yeah. And if they want to know more about, like, the financial aspect of things, or how the purchasing strategy works, it's like, let's get involved and ask the questions and find out more. So it's, you don't always have to stay in your lane as far as, like, developing your knowledge on the business.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Well, just one last question in
Yeah.
terms of sticking with the same theme. How do you motivate yourself and not not the recharge time, but just maybe you get to a point where like, oh, if I, because let's face it, as we put together these events, the topics they evolve, but they don't change that it's not that things are changing that much, especially since the pandemic, how we get to this, like, so you have to, I'm sure at times, sort of motivate yourself to like think outside the box, do something different, just get excited again about something that maybe has been something you've been doing for a while now.
What really motivates me, and like our business is driven by our team. Like our team members in the cafe are the face of the brand. And so getting to meet with them firsthand and hearing their experiences, hearing what they're passionate about with the brand is exciting for me. And I want to celebrate our team members. We have some team members who have been here. Our brand is 40 years old, and we've had some team members that have been here for almost the entirety of the existence of La Madeleine. So my team, from the marketing department to the team members in the cafes, motivate me. But I have to tell you what else really motivated me is that I had the opportunity to visit our parent company in Rennes, France last week, and just to be in the country where the majority of our menu is based off of, and to sample the product and to visit with the team at the parent company, and to visit local bakeries and different cafes and concepts, and get to see the interior decor, the exterior decor. That was extremely motivating, and to come back with a new sense of French experience that we could incorporate into our brand was just incredible. So that's what I'm riding that new sense of motivation right now.
So anyone listening will say, okay, you need to send me to France.
Yes.
So I can
Yes.
get motivated like Kerri did.
Yes. And I don't really speak the English, so you can still get motivated with just all of the visuals that there are there to experience.
That sounds awesome. Well,
it was fantastic.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Merci.
Merci. Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Au revoir.
And au revoir. And thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And merci to you watching. And as I always end, if you have a women marketer, brand marketer that you want me to sort of pull back the curtain on, please let me know, and I will do my best to get her. So thanks for watching, and thanks again, Kerri.
Thank you. Merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.